The Bosphorus shimmered under the early morning light. While most of Istanbul still slept, Meryem Erçin was already on the 34th floor of Vega Holdings Tower. For 5 years, she had been the perfect shadow, typing reports, making coffee, organizing endless meetings. No one remembered her birthday. No one noticed when she stayed until midnight fixing contracts. To everyone, she was simply the invisible one, her boss. Kaan Bursin, the ruthless magnate of Istanbul's real estate empire, never even looked her in the eye. Meryem placed a steaming cup on his desk just as the elevator doors opened. Kaan entered like a storm, sharp suit, silver tie, cold gray eyes. He set his briefcase down without greeting her. Too much foam. Again, he muttered after one sip. Meryem lowered her gaze. It was the same coffee he drank every day, perfect as always. But Kaan's specialty was finding flaws, even where none existed. Whispered poison from the hallway came the mocking voices of Is and Leyla, Kaan's glamorous cousins and marketing directors. Look at her, always in those dull gray suits. Is sneered loud enough for Meryem to hear. A little mouse in glasses. Does she actually think Kaan sees her as anything more than a secretary? Leyla laughed cruelly. Meryem kept her head down, her dignity clinging by a thread. Endure it, Meryem, she told herself. For mother, for her mother's weak smile, her brother's dream of university. It was all on her shoulders. The breaking point that afternoon, while Meryem filed contracts, Kaan's furious voice erupted from his office. What do you mean you can't come, Selin? It's the charity gala of the year. A photo shoot in Bodrum? Fine, then go with your photos. The call ended with a slam. Seconds later, Kaan stormed out, his gaze sweeping the office until it landed on her. You, he ordered. Meryem blinked. Me, sir? You'll accompany me tomorrow to the Turkish Business Foundation gala. The office went silent. Everyone knew it was the most exclusive event of the year, filled with politicians, celebrities, billionaires. Meryem's heart pounded. Sir, I don't think it's appropriate. I need to finish the quarterly report. Kaan leaned over her desk, his cold eyes piercing hers. This is not a request, Erçin. It's an order. Refuse and on Monday, find another job. The cousins smirked, delighted at the cruelty. Meryem swallowed hard, her hands trembling. As you wish, Mr. Bursin. The bet later that day she overheard Kaan speaking with his friends, the board members. Bringing her to the gala will be a joke. I bet she can't even hold a glass of champagne without spilling it. Laughter followed. Meryem froze. So this was his plan, to humiliate her in front of all Istanbul. The collapse that night in her small apartment in Kadıköy, she dropped her bag and leaned against the door, tears finally breaking free. Daughter, her mother's fragile voice called from the living room. Meryem wiped her face quickly. I'm fine, Anne. Just a long day. But in her mother's arms, the truth poured out. The insults, the cruel bet, the gala. Her mother listened quietly, then spoke with unexpected strength. That man thinks your pain is his entertainment. But the question is, Meryem, what will you do? Her words burned into Meryem's heart. The spark that night, unable to sleep, Meryem opened an old wooden chest her grandmother had left behind. Inside, among colorful scarves, was a silver locket. On a faded note inside were the words, "For when you need to remember who you truly are." Meryem clutched it tight. She would not be anyone's joke. She grabbed her phone and dialed. Defen? It's me, Meryem. I need your help. Her cousin, a rebellious designer, gasped. Help! Tell me everything. Meryem took a deep breath. Tomorrow, I face the man who made me invisible, and it's time he sees the real Meryem Erçin. The morning sun crept through the curtains of Meryem Erçin's small apartment in Kadıköy. She had barely slept an hour. Her body trembled with exhaustion, but her mind was on fire. Tonight was not about clothes. Tonight was about destiny. Defin arrives. At 8 sharp, the doorbell rang like a gunshot. Meryem opened it to find her whirlwind of a cousin, Defne Erçin, storming in with 2 giant suitcases, her long black hair streaked with violet, chunky silver jewelry jingling around her neck. Defin was chaos and brilliance in one. "Cousin," she exclaimed, throwing her arms around Meryem. "Are you ready for your revolution?" Meryem laughed nervously. "Don't exaggerate. It's just a gala." Defne planted her hands on her hips. "No, it's the night the world stops seeing you as invisible." The makeshift atelier within minutes, the tiny apartment transformed into a fashion studio. Dresses hung over chairs, sketches scattered across the table, makeup brushes covered the kitchen counter. From her armchair, Meryem's mother, Zehra, watched with a mixture of pride and nostalgia. "You two remind me of my mother and me, preparing for weddings in the village." Defin lifted a gown from her suitcase, a deep jade green dress embroidered with patterns inspired by Anatolian art, modern and powerful. Meryem's breath caught. "It's too beautiful." "Not for me," Defin clicked her tongue. "I designed this without knowing who it was for. Now I understand. It was always for you." The transformation hours blurred into one. Defne adjusted the dress while her friend Murat, a hairstylist, worked his magic. "Enough of this boring bun," he said. The blow-dryer roared, the curling iron hissed. Slowly, Meryem's straight hair transformed into cascading waves that shimmered in the light. Then came Aylin, the makeup artist. With swift strokes, her golden eyes turned feline, sharp, unforgettable. When Meryem looked in the mirror, she barely recognized herself. No gray suit, no heavy glasses, no invisible secretary, just a woman radiating power. At the mirror, for a moment, she stood alone, staring at her reflection. The silver locket from her grandmother rested against her collarbone, glowing softly. She whispered, "Bukan. I hope you see me now." Her mother appeared at the door, tears brimming. "You look so much like your grandmother, Soledad." Meryem hugged her tightly. For the first time in years, she felt ready to stop hiding. The training. That afternoon, Defin forced her to practice walking in high heels down the narrow corridor of the apartment building. Chin up, shoulders back, eyes forward. Don't let anyone think you doubt yourself, even if the ground shakes under your feet. Neighbors peeked curiously through their doors, whispering and applauding. Step by step, Meryem's balance steadied, her confidence rising. At last, Defin clapped. "Perfect. Tonight, cousin, you won't just be seen, you'll be unstoppable." The call by 6 o'clock, the apartment buzzed with nervous energy. Then Meryem's phone vibrated. The name, flashing on the screen, made her chest tighten. Kaan Bursin. She hesitated before answering. "Erçin?" His voice was cold. "The driver will collect you in 30 minutes. Don't be late. Not a please, not a thank you." He had no idea what awaited him. "I'll be ready, Mr. Bursin," she replied calmly. Defne smirked. "Oh, you'll be ready, all right. But not for what he thinks." The farewell. Minutes later, dressed in jade green, Meryem stood at the door. Her mother clasped her hand. "Remember, my child, diamonds may shine, but you are the true jewel." Tears burned Meryem's eyes. "Thank you, Anne." She descended the stairs, her heart pounding like a drum. Outside, a sleek black car waited. The driver opened the door with respect. As Meryem slid into the seat, the city lights stretched before her. Her destination, the Dolmabahce Palace Gala. The same night Kaan planned to humiliate her would be the night Istanbul met the real Meryem Erçin. The night sky over Istanbul glowed with golden lights. The Dolmabahce Palace, transformed into a ballroom, glittered like a dream. Limousines pulled up one after another, releasing politicians, actors, billionaires in shimmering gowns and tuxedos. Photographers lined the red carpet, their cameras flashing, hungry for a perfect scandal or a flawless star. Everyone expected Kaan Bursin, the Wolf of Istanbul, to arrive with his glamorous model girlfriend Selin. But Selin was gone. Tonight, destiny had other plans. The arrival of a sleek black car rolled up to the carpet. The driver stepped out and opened the door. Silence fell for a heartbeat. Then a slender leg in a jade green gown emerged. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Meryem Erçin stepped onto the carpet. The dress clung to her curves with elegance, glowing like emerald fire under the spotlights. Her golden brown hair cascaded in perfect waves. Her eyes, once hidden behind glasses, now burned with confidence. Around her neck, the silver locket gleamed like a crown. For 1 second, the paparazzi froze, unsure who she was. Then the storm erupted. "Who is she?" one shouted. "Incredible." Another gasped. Cameras flashed like lightning. The invisible secretary had just become a queen. Kaan's shock inside the entrance hall. Kaan sipped his wine with a group of investors, his usual mask of arrogance firmly in place. He thrived on control, on being untouchable. But then he heard it. The sudden roar of voices, the cameras exploding outside. He turned his head and froze. Meryem walked through the doors as if she owned the palace. Every step radiated poise. Every gaze in the room followed her. Kaan's glass nearly slipped from his hand. His gray eyes widened in disbelief. "No," he muttered. "That couldn't be his secretary. That couldn't be the gray little mouse who brought his coffee every morning." Yet it was, and she was magnificent. Whispers and envy. "Who is she?" businessmen whispered. "A new model?" a politician's wife asked. "She looks like she walked out of Vogue," muttered another. At the corner of the hall, Is and Layla, Kaan's cousins, stared, pale and trembling. "It can't be," Is whispered. But Layla's voice cracked with rage. "It's her. It's Meryem." The ballroom of Dolmabahce Palace glowed like a dream, chandeliers dripping golden light across marble floors. But all eyes were fixed on one couple at the center, Meryem Erçin and Emir Rivas. The tango began. Rivas held her with a predator's grip, confident and deliberate. Meryem moved with unexpected grace, her jade gown swirling like liquid emerald. Each step was fire, each turn a declaration. She was no longer invisible. Gasps rippled through the crowd. This was not the secretary they remembered. This was a queen in the making. Kaan's burning rage. From the edge of the floor, Kaan Bursin stood like a storm barely contained. His jaw clenched, his fist tight. This was his plan, bring her to humiliate her. Instead, she was dazzling the entire elite of Istanbul. Worse, his greatest rival now held her in his arms. "Magnificent," whispered one investor. "She eclipses everyone here," murmured a socialite. Each word was a dagger to Kaan's pride. Rivas strikes, the tango reached its climax. Rivas dipped Meryem low, his lips dangerously close to her ear. "You belong in the spotlight, not in Bursin's shadow," he whispered. "With me you could rule," Meryem's amber eyes flared. She smiled just enough to hide the chill in her voice. "I don't belong to anyone." The music ended with a thunderous applause. Rivas kissed her hand boldly, his eyes daring Kaan. The wolf was losing, and he knew it. The ball shifts. As the crowd buzzed, whispers spread like wildfire. Is she Bursin's new lover? No, she's too powerful for that. Who exactly is Meryem Erçin? Iti and Layla, his cousins, were white with fury. She's ruining everything, Is hissed. Layla's nails dug into her palm. We'll make sure she regrets this. But Meryem barely noticed. She stood taller than ever, her presence impossible to ignore. The interruption, just as the orchestra began another song, a new voice cut through the noise. "Señorita Erçin," called a man from the crowd. The ballroom turned. It was Daniel Villalobos, Kaan's cousin from the shadows, calm, calculating, his smile unsettling. Unlike Rivas's open hunger, Daniel was ice. His eyes studied Meryem like she was a chess piece he had waited years to move. "May I have the next dance?" Kaan stepped forward, finally breaking his silence. His voice was low, fierce. "No, this one is mine." The room went silent. The duel in a tango Kaan took Meryem's hand before anyone could protest. The orchestra shifted once more, striking up a fierce tango. When their bodies met, sparks ignited. It wasn't just a dance, it was a war. Every step was a clash. His strength pulling, her defiance resisting. His gray eyes burned with jealousy, hers with fire of freedom. "You shouldn't be here," he hissed. "You brought me," she shot back, her voice laced with challenge. The crowd watched in awe. It was not a performance, it was raw power, desire, fury. The whisper as the music built to its climax, Kaan's grip tightened. For the first time, his mask of arrogance cracked. "You're not invisible to me anymore," he whispered, almost desperate. "Meryem, I can't stop seeing you." Her heart jolted, but she forced her face into a confident smile. "Too late, Mr. Bursin," she replied. "The world already sees me." The tango ended in a storm of applause. Kaan's chest heaved. For once, the wolf looked shaken, and from the shadows Daniel's cold smile widened. He had just seen the first fracture in Kaan Bursin's armor, and he knew exactly how to use Meryem to break him. The applause still echoed in the golden hall of Dolmabahce Palace. Meryem stood tall, her chest rising with every breath, her locket glowing softly under the lights. Beside her, Kaan Bursin clenched his jaw, his pride shattered. He had never lost control in front of Istanbul's elite until tonight. But before he could recover, another voice broke the spell. "Señorita Erçin," said Daniel Villalobos, stepping forward from the shadows, the silent wolf. Unlike Kaan's fire or Rivas's arrogance, Daniel was ice. His dark hair perfectly groomed, his tailored suit immaculate, his smile sharp but unreadable. He bowed lightly and took Meryem's hand. "Allow me to congratulate you. You've been the soul of this evening." Meryem forced a polite smile. "Thank you, Mr. Villalobos." "Please call me Danielle," he said smoothly. "After all, we share more than you might imagine." His words carried a hidden edge, and though Meryem didn't yet understand, Kaan did. His gray eyes darkened with fury. "Erçin, come," Kaan ordered through clenched teeth. "We must speak with the minister." But Daniel ignored him, his voice calm and venomous. "Don't worry, cousin. I'll handle the introductions." He guided Meryem across the hall, leaving Kaan behind, boiling with rage. In the corner, Daniel handed Meryem a glass of champagne. His gaze never left her face. "I must confess," he said softly. "I've watched you at Vega Holdings for years. Quiet, invisible, a shadow. But tonight, you've shown your true power." Meryem frowned. "Appearances deceive, Mr. Villalobos." Daniel smirked. "Exactly. And that's why the invisible are always the most dangerous." A shiver ran down her spine. Unlike Rivas, Daniel didn't seduce with fire. He poisoned with ice. The unwanted name. Suddenly, an older Spanish investor, tipsy with wine, approached and stared at her. "Soledad?" he blurted. Meryem blinked. Excuse me? He laughed nervously. Forgive me, señorita. You look just like your grandmother, Soledad Erçin, a legend in her time. She nearly owned half of Vega Holdings 30 years ago. The words crashed over Meryem like thunder. Her grandmother, a part of Vega Holdings? Daniel's smile deepened. His eyes glittered like a predator finding prey. Soledad Erçin, interesting. Meryem's heart pounded. Her mother had always kept her grandmother's story cloaked in silence. Before she could ask questions, Kaan stormed in. Enough, he snapped. He seized Meryem's arm, his voice sharp. We're leaving, now. Daniel lifted his glass in mock salute. Don't be so jealous, cousin. In the end, all secrets rise to the surface. On the balcony, Kaan pulled her onto a marble balcony, away from the music and the whispers. The Bosphorus shimmered below, the night air heavy with tension. What does this mean? He demanded, his voice rough. What do you mean? Meryem shot back, her eyes blazing. Soledad Erçin, he growled. That name has no place tonight. Meryem stepped closer, her voice steady. Then explain. What did my grandmother have to do with you? His fist tightened. His gaze flickered with something between rage and fear. More than you can imagine, he muttered. And if you're smart, you'll stop asking. Her heart twisted. 5 years as your shadow, and you still think you can order me to stay silent? He gripped her wrist, desperate. You don't understand, Meryem. There are truths that could destroy us both. She yanked free, her voice trembling with fury. Then maybe it's time to let them. Daniel, watching, neither of them saw him. From the shadows of the balcony doorway, Daniel Villalobos watched, his smile widening. Now he knew. Meryem Erçin was not just a beautiful distraction. She was the key to dismantling Kaan Bursin, and he would use her no matter the cost. The ballroom of Dolmabahce buzzed with whispers, but Meryem barely heard them. Her pulse thundered in her ears. Soledad Erçin, the name echoed like a ghost. Photographers shouted, investors leaned closer. Is it true? Are you her granddaughter? Meryem froze, caught in a storm she hadn't asked for. Before she could speak, Kaan Bursin stepped forward, his jaw like iron. No questions, he barked. This conversation is over, but it was too late. The rumor spread like wildfire through Istanbul's elite. Dragged away, Kaan gripped Meryem's arm, pulling her into a side corridor. His eyes were sharp, his breathing fast. What does this mean? She demanded. What does my grandmother have to do with you? He slammed his fist against the wall, the sound echoing. Soledad nearly destroyed my family. Her breath caught. What? Kaan's gray eyes burned. She was the co-founder of Vega Holdings. The original contract bore 2 signatures, Emir Vega and Soledad Erçin. The ground seemed to vanish beneath Meryem's feet. Then she owned part of the empire? Kaan's voice dripped bitterness. 40%, until my father betrayed her. He bribed officials, buried the evidence, erased her from history. She fought, she lost, and from then on, her name became poison in my family. The weight of truth Meryem's throat tightened. All this time, I worked as your secretary, humiliated, invisible, when it was always my right to stand at the top. Kaan closed his eyes for a second as if the truth pained him. Yes, her chest burned with rage. You let me live in the shadows. You used me as your joke. When I was your equal, no, your partner, by blood. He took a step closer, desperation cracking his arrogance. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know who you were. Tears blurred her vision. But you knew what you did. You broke me, Kaan, and now you expect me to forget it because it suits you? He reached for her hand, but she pulled away. For the first time, Kaan Bursin, the wolf, looked powerless. Daniel's poison slow clap echoed down the corridor. Both turned to see Daniel Villalobos, stepping from the shadows with a glass of wine in hand, his smile sharp as a blade. Touching, he said softly. The forgotten heiress of Vega Holdings revealed at last. Meryem stiffened. You knew? Daniel's dark eyes gleamed. I suspected. Now I'm certain, he sipped his wine. 40% of the empire belongs to you. And if you want to claim it, Meryem, I will help you. Kaan's voice was a snarl. Stay out of this, Daniel. But Daniel ignored him. Why cling to a man who hid your legacy? Why protect a family that erased your grandmother? Join me. Take what is yours. Meryem's heart raced. Daniel's words were poison, but they carried a dangerous truth. The proof that night, back in her modest apartment, Meryem searched her grandmother's old wooden chest again. She found it, a crumpled contract, yellow with age. 2 signatures stared back at her, Emir Vega and Soledad Erçin. Tears welled in her eyes. It was real. She was the rightful heir. She clutched the locket, whispering, Grandmother, I'll reclaim what you lost. I swear it. The wolf alone high, above the city in his penthouse, Kaan poured himself a glass of whiskey, staring out at the Bosphorus. He remembered the way Meryem had looked in that ballroom. Not just beautiful, untouchable. His hand trembled for the first time in years. I won't lose her, he muttered. Not to Rivas, not to Daniel, not to anyone. But deep down, he knew the truth. The little secretary he once ignored was now the queen who could destroy him. The silver locket weighed heavy against Meryem's chest. The faded contract with her grandmother's signature lay open on her desk. The proof she wasn't just a secretary, she was heir to nearly half of Vega Holdings. But proof was also danger. At midnight, a knock echoed at her door. A plain envelope slipped under it. Inside, a single note, written in elegant, dangerous handwriting. We share the same enemy. Meet me tomorrow at midnight. ER, her blood chilled. Eduardo Rivas, Kaan's oldest rival. The man whispered about in every boardroom like a curse. The hotel meeting, the next night. Meryem entered the gilded lobby of the Turan Palace Kempinski Hotel. Crystal chandeliers sparkled above her as guards escorted her to the presidential suite. Inside, Eduardo Rivas stood by the window, Istanbul glittering behind him. His suit was flawless, his smile sharp as a knife. Señorita Erçin, he said smoothly, bowing slightly. At last we meet properly. Meryem stayed near the door. You dragged my name into that ballroom, Rivas chuckled, sipping his cognac. I didn't drag it. I unveiled it. The city deserves to know the truth. You are the rightful heiress. The blood of Soledad Erçin runs in your veins, her fist clenched. And what do you want in return? The offer Rivas set down his glass and stepped closer, his eyes glittering. I want what you want, justice. Vega Holdings belongs to you, not to Kaan, but he won't give it willingly. He'll bury you like his father buried your grandmother, unless you fight back. He opened a leather folder and spread documents across the table. Here, financial records, forged contracts, bribes, proof that the Vega Empire was built on theft. Meryem's breath caught. These were weapons powerful enough to destroy Kaan. Why give me this? She whispered. Rivas leaned in, his voice low and dangerous. Because only you can bring him down. Together, we can strip him of everything, the temptation. Her eyes lingered on the papers. They were the key to reclaiming what her grandmother lost, to stepping out of the shadows forever. But Rivas's smile made her stomach twist. He wasn't offering freedom. He was offering chains disguised as a crown. I need time, she said finally. Rivas nodded slowly. Take all the time you wish. But remember, Meryem, there are no neutrals in this war. You are either with me or against me. Mother's warning back at her apartment, she found her mother waiting, eyes worried. Where were you, Kuzum? Zera asked softly. Meryem hesitated. With someone who says he wants to help me. Her mother's gaze sharpened. The devil always dresses like a gentleman. Be careful, Meryem. Don't sell your soul for revenge. The words echoed long into the night. The wolf restless. Meanwhile, in Vega Holdings' tower, Kaan paced his office like a caged animal. He had heard the whispers. Rivas meeting Meryem. Rivas giving her evidence. His pride burned. His chest ached with something worse. Fear. If Meryem allied with Rivas, the Vega Empire would fall. And worse, he would lose her. He slammed his fist on the desk. I won't allow it. The trap tightens. The next morning, Meryem walked into the office. Every head turned. No one dared mock her anymore. Her presence had changed, no longer invisible, but magnetic. Daniel appeared at her side, smirking. Careful, cousin. Rivas doesn't forgive betrayal. Choose wisely or you'll be crushed. Meryem glared at him. And what about you? Aren't you just waiting for the same thing? Daniel's smile deepened. The difference is, I have patience. Rivas doesn't. Her heart pounded. She was in the center of a battlefield, with 3 wolves circling. Kaan, burning with pride. Daniel, cold and calculating. Rivas, venomous and relentless. And every one of them wanted her next move. Meryem sat alone in her apartment, the city lights flickering beyond the window. On the table before her lay Rivas's folder. Dozens of pages filled with secrets sharp enough to cut down an empire. Her hands trembled as she spread them open. Bank records, forged contracts, the old partnership agreement with her grandmother's name written clear and proud. Soledad Erçin. But buried in the fine print, she found something else, something worse, a clause. If any heir of Soledad Erçin formally claimed her 40% share, Vega Holdings would be forced into immediate dissolution. Not just Kaan, not just his fortune. Thousands of employees, hundreds of families, destroyed overnight. Her stomach turned to ice. Bucani, she whispered to the locket on her chest. What do I do? Rivas calls, the phone rang. His voice oozed through the line like poison. Well, my queen, have you decided? Meryem's voice shook. If I claim my inheritance, Vega Holdings collapses. People will lose their jobs. Families will starve. Rivas laughed softly, cruelly. Collateral damage. Empires are built on ashes. Claim what's yours. Let Bursin burn. Her chest tightened with disgust. She hung up without another word. The confrontation. The next morning, Kaan Bursin stormed into her office. The air around him was fire, his gray eyes blazing. You were with Rivas, he accused. What did he offer you? Meryem stood, her chin lifted. The truth. Something you hid from me for years. He slammed his fist on the desk, his voice breaking. You don't know what you're playing with. She snapped back, tears stinging her eyes. 5 years, Kaan. 5 years fetching your coffee, enduring your silence, your contempt, when all along I had a right to everything you own. And you knew, his jaw clenched. I didn't know you were hers. But yes, I knew what I did, and I regret it. Meryem's heart twisted, but she refused to let him see her falter. What do you want, Meryem? He whispered, his voice raw. Money? Power? Revenge? She met his eyes unflinching. I want justice. Daniel's venom in the corridor. Daniel Villalobos leaned against the wall, his smirk cutting. Justice, he repeated softly as she walked past him. A beautiful dream. But tell me, cousin, when has justice ever existed in this family? Meryem glared at him. I don't need your poison. He tilted his head, his voice smooth as silk. Not poison, advice. Rivas offers you fire. Kaan offers you chains. Me? I offer patience. Wait long enough and both men will destroy themselves. Then the throne is yours. His words clung to her like smoke. The wolf exposed, that evening, a knock shook her door. When she opened it, Kaan stood there, Not the immaculate magnate, but a man undone. His suit was wrinkled, his tie loose, his eyes ringed with sleeplessness. "Please," he said, almost pleading. "Let me explain." Meryem crossed her arms. "Explain how your family stole everything from mine? Or how you made me invisible while I worked for what was already mine?" Kaan's breath shook. "I didn't hide the truth to hurt you. I hid it because if the world knew who you were, they'd come for you. Rivas, Daniel, every vulture in this city." Meryem's heart pounded. For once, there was no arrogance in his tone. "Only fear," she whispered. "Don't underestimate me, Kaan. I can fight for myself." His eyes softened. "I don't doubt that. But I don't want you to fight alone." Their gazes locked. The air between them burned with something neither dared name. Then her phone buzzed. A new message lit the screen. 4 chilling words. "Choose or die. AR." The message glowed on Meryem's phone like fire carved into glass. "Choose or die. ER." Her blood turned cold. She read it once, twice, 3 times, praying it was some cruel metaphor. But she knew Eduardo Rivas never dealt in empty threats. Across the room, Kaan Bursin saw the tremor in her hands. He snatched the phone from her, his grey eyes narrowing as he read. "Damn it," he growled. He slammed the device onto the desk. "I knew it. Rivas won't stop at business. He's coming for you." "I don't need your protection," Meryem snapped, though her voice wavered. Kaan stepped closer, his tone sharp. "This isn't about what you want. This is about survival." Shadows in the night. That evening, when Meryem returned to her small apartment, the air felt heavier than usual. The lights in the hallway flickered. A dark sedan was parked across the street, its engine off, its windows tinted. She rushed upstairs. Her mother, Zara, was waiting by the door with worried eyes. "Hia, something's wrong. I feel it," she whispered. Meryem hugged her tightly. "Promise me you won't open the door for anyone you don't know. No matter what." Her mother nodded, fear glimmering in her eyes. Daniel's warning. The next day at Vega Holdings, Daniel Villalobos intercepted her in the corridor. His calm smile sent a chill down her spine. "You're playing with fire, cousin," he said smoothly. "Are you threatening me too?" She shot back. He shook his head, his dark eyes glittering. "No, I'm reminding you. Rivas doesn't bluff. If you don't choose soon, he'll crush you." "And you?" she asked bitterly. "Aren't you just waiting for the same thing?" Daniel leaned in, his voice a poisonous whisper. "The difference is, I don't want to destroy you. I want to watch you destroy Kaan." Her heart raced. She pushed past him, but his words clung like smoke. The offer. That afternoon, a sleek envelope arrived at her desk. No name, no sender. Inside was a first-class ticket to Paris. Along with it, a contract stamped with the Rivas seal. "A seat on my board. Absolute power. Sign, and the world is yours." Her hands shook as she read it. Power, freedom, vengeance, all laid out before her. But the price, her soul. The wolf's desperation, Kaan stormed into her office minutes later, his chest rising and falling with fury. "You got the letter," he said. Meryem met his gaze unflinching. "And what if I accept? At least Rivas offers me a place at the table. You hid my inheritance. You used me as a joke." Kaan slammed the desk, his voice raw. "Because I was trying to protect you." Her amber eyes burned with tears. Protect me from what? The truth, the silence between them was sharp, unbearable. Finally, Kaan stepped closer, his voice trembling for the first time. "I don't want to lose you, Meryem." "Not you," her heart stuttered. For a moment she saw the man beneath the wolf, vulnerable, terrified. But the phone in his pocket buzzed. He read the screen and his face darkened. Another message from Rivas. "She is mine. Accept your defeat," the trap that night. Another note slid under Meryem's door. Midnight. The old theater, come alone. Or everyone will know your secret. Her pulse thundered. She knew it was Rivas. She knew it was dangerous, yet she couldn't ignore it. She dressed in silence, the silver locket her only shield, and slipped into the night. The abandoned theater loomed in the darkness, its broken windows staring like hollow eyes. Inside, dust swirled in the moonlight, and waiting at the center was Eduardo Rivas, a pistol in one hand, a crumpled contract in the other. He smiled, cold and lethal. Welcome, Meryem. Time to choose, your crown or your life. The abandoned theater reeked of dust and forgotten dreams. Moonlight streamed through shattered windows, casting long shadows across the broken stage. At the center stood Eduardo Rivas, his flawless suit gleaming in the dim light. In one hand, a pistol. In the other, the yellowed contract bearing the name Meryem Erçin. His smile was sharp, merciless. Simple choice, señorita, he purred. Sign and claim your throne, or die like your grandmother. The silver locket on Meryem's chest pulsed with her heartbeat. She took a breath, her voice calm but steady. I am not my grandmother, and I am not your pawn. The wolf. A sudden noise broke the tension. Heavy footsteps echoed through the theater. From the shadows emerged Kaan Bursin. His suit was torn, his tie gone, but his gray eyes burned like fire. Put the gun down, Rivas. Rivas laughed. Ah, the wolf arrives to protect his little secretary. How touching. But too late. He aimed the pistol at Meryem's heart, Meryem's defiance. Meryem stepped forward, placing herself between the two men. Her voice rang through the empty hall. Enough! I am not a trophy for you to fight over. Not yours, Kaan. Not yours, Rivas. I am the heir of Meryem Erçin. I am my own. For the first time, both men froze, Rivas in shock, Kaan in awe. The shattered contract Meryem walked to the table where the contract lay beneath the pistol. Her fingers brushed the fragile paper. This is what you want, isn't it? She whispered. Rivas's eyes glittered. Yes, sign it. Destroy Bursin. Take your crown. She lifted the contract high. The room held its breath. Then, with a fierce cry, she tore it into pieces. The shreds rained to the floor like dying leaves. I will not build my throne on ashes, she declared. Not on stolen blood, not on innocent lives. If I am to be queen, I will build my own empire. Chaos Rivas's face twisted with rage. He raised the pistol. Foolish girl. Then you'll die as nothing. Before he could fire, Kaan lunged. The two men crashed to the ground, fists flying, the gun skidding across the floor. Run, Meryem! Kaan shouted, but she didn't run. Her eyes locked on the pistol lying just feet away. She picked it up. The cold weight made her tremble. For a heartbeat, the theater went silent. She could end it all right here, but she lowered the weapon. No, she said firmly. I won't become like you. Rivas's defeat Kaan overpowered Rivas, pinning him to the ground. Police sirens wailed outside. The guards Kaan had secretly called were arriving. As officers stormed the theater, Rivas was dragged away, screaming threats. This isn't over, Meryem. You'll regret crossing me. His voice faded into the night. The wolf-broken Kaan turned to her, chest heaving, his once cold eyes filled with raw emotion. You could have taken everything from me tonight, he said hoarsely. Instead, you saved me. Why? Meryem's gaze was steady, her voice soft but unyielding. Because I don't need your empire, Kaan. I'll build my own. I was invisible once, but never again. He stepped closer, his voice breaking. Meryem, I don't want an empire without you. Her heart ached, but she shook her head gently. Then learn to stand beside me, not above me. For the first time, the wolf lowered his head, humbled. The new dawn weeks later, headlines filled Istanbul. Invisible Secretary no more. Meryem Erçin launches Erçin Foundation. From humiliation to power. The rise of a queen. Dressed in white, Meryem stood on the balcony of her new foundation's headquarters, overlooking the Bosphorus. The silver locket gleamed against her heart. She whispered to the wind, "Grandmother, I remembered who I am." She smiled through tears, no longer a shadow, no longer humiliated. She was the queen of her own story. Epilogue far across the city, in a dark cell, Eduardo Rivas smirked at the newspaper headline bearing her face. He whispered to himself, "The game has only begun." But for Meryem Erçin, the game was already won. She had returned not as prey, but as a queen,